let's revisit Snapchat. So first off, read this disclaimer carefully. Then do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing. So here is Snapchat, their website. Yeah, Snap, it's a technology company. We believe the camera presents the greatest opportunity to improve the way people live and communicate. We contribute to human progress by empowering people to express themselves, live in the moment, learn about the world, and have fun together. Yeah, so they have both Snapchat and also something called Spectacles. Oh yeah, that's actually quite interesting. So what? Yeah, so it seems to be some kind of augmented reality thing. Yeah, definitively on trend. So here is Snapchat. I have put it in social artificial intelligence / machine learning. 41% from the 52-week low, 38% away from the highs. Back here on the 11th of January, approximately a month ago, I was feeling a bit bearish on Snapchat. That definitively played itself out. But there's a major but on the horizon. I'm actually feeling bullish long term. So let me explain. So this is the chart. Long-term horizon weekly data points. So obviously we are pretty far here from the highs. Indeed. So my thesis would be that the truth is somewhere here in, not necessarily in the middle from the high up here, but I do think that it's currently undervalued. We are at some interesting horizontal support as well. Looking here, we are not like severely oversold yet on the weeklies. On the 20-week PPO, we do have some signs of exhaustion here. On the dailies, we are definitively oversold. So, yeah, this is just... it's been so bearish that it's potentially bullish. You see here on the wicks here of the latest candlesticks, they are a bit higher. Which are like initial signs of some bullish reversal. So technically, now let me go into my notes. So I do think that we are oversold and yes, horizontal support. I will actually give the bulls an 8 on this one. This is just way too low. So let's now go and look at the seasonality. So we don't have that much data, but the data we do have is pretty bullish here into mid-ish February, but we don't have much data at all. Looking at the table views, so far we have a... Yes, a 27 here. Yeah, 27% loss here for February. That's pretty big. That's the worst February so far, so definitely could be oversold. March usually isn't a bullish month, though. You see here in 2020, February was really bad, and also March was pretty bad. So, we're not necessarily... so we don't have like a very strong bullish corroboration here on the seasonality. I think I will give the bulls a 2 here. There's something bullish, but ideally one would have a bit more. Here are the fundamentals. So in blue, you see the price-book ratio. We are pretty low. Yeah, price to sales in copper also fairly low. Price earnings, it's recently been higher, but yeah, there's been a reduction. Let's look here and go to this and look at the analyst forecasts. So we do see that the average price target is 20.5% above us. That is pretty bullish. We can also see here that the max is 89% above, the lowest is 28% below us. Analysts are really just very much in hold here on Snap. But yeah, I do think that this is This is pretty interesting though. We have seen a massive reevaluation here of Snapchat. So I think I will give the bulls. Yeah, let me give the bulls a 7 here on the fundamentals. This is pretty interesting. Now we will look at relative performance, like that. So now we do some statistics. So we will compare it against the social media ETF, SOCO, I think, yes, social media ETF. And yeah, let's look at it against Meta. Meta platforms, like that. So a long-term weekly data points, we have a 25% positive correlation with S&P 500, 95% with SOCO, and 54% here with Meta. Daily data points, 82% S&P 500, 79% social media ETF, SOCO, 63% with Meta. So what happens here to SOCO is going to have a big effect here on Snap. So yeah, the chart here for SOCO is pretty similar, though SOCO is a bit more bullish. Here are the daily data points. So let me get the drawing tool. Okay, so let me draw a bit here on this one. Okay, so move it like this. So you could argue that we have a bit of an inverse head and shoulders that is fairly bullish. Seasonality. To the right here, it's a bit messy. No, to the left, it is pretty messy here. To the right, February. Yeah, usually recently it hasn't been a particularly bullish month. The same thing with March. Okay, so let's now compare Snap with SOCO. Like that. And we do Snap, SOCO, like that. Yeah, so in terms of RSI, we are abnormally low. So a very significant underperformance from Snap, but that also could be ripe for a reversal. On the dailies, just massive underperformance. Previous times we saw this kind of underperformance. We either got a bounce or we got like a big long-term low. But overall, bullish. Seasonality also favors Snap here. February being atrocious for Snap so far. So yeah, it's a bit messy in this case. But overall, I do think that it's... yeah, let's give it a 4 for the bulls. It's fairly bullish. So we end up with 5.3 here in favor of the bulls. We are oversold. We are at horizontal support. So after the previous Snap analysis, big change, and what was bearish is now bullish. So the way I would prefer to express this trade would be to go longer term. I would either buy the stock with the intention of holding a bit. Alternatively, I would get into the options market, get on some limited risk credit trade, get some premium, contingent on the thesis that Snapchat would go up, that there's some bullishness on the horizon. When I get into the options market, I usually prefer to have between 1 to 2-ish months before expiration, because that gives me more flexibility to have like a day where I can close out the position with a nice gain. I would benefit then from the theta decay, the natural decay of options, and I would also then, of course, benefit if the security moves in the expected direction. So yeah, I do think that Snapchat, it's pretty interesting. Granted, there's reasons why the stock is low. So I don't think it's poised to like retake the highs it saw One of the key reasons why we have seen a major decrease is that its competitors in the space, they are making some pretty big moves, big investments that will be quite challenging for Snapchat to take on. Yeah, especially Meta, they are really now taking the lead in artificial intelligence and also in augmented reality, virtual reality, which still is early, especially VR and AR, but it's quite clear to see the merit. It's just that we need, a couple more generations until this really becomes like a huge thing. But when it becomes a huge thing, then I do think that Meta will benefit very substantially from that. And it would also open up a completely new way for Meta to also make money on advertising. So there's just huge potential there. But in the meantime, yes, I do think that Snapchat will have a bit of a rally. If the rally comes, I would, close out my gains. I'm not necessarily going to hold like too long due to the misbehavior of the security historically, but whenever a security has moved very substantially from the highs, you sort of have like the opposite of euphoria. And in those situations, it makes a lot of sense to start to consider the opposite thesis.